Bandhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. So it's a beautiful prayer to Krishna and Radharani. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya. So beautiful prayer. It's always nice to learn this, Anil Prabhu. Then maybe next time, whenever you're free and you feel comfortable, you can just do that as well.
Sure.
Now, Amaga Prabhu or Hari Prabhu, Vrindavan Prabhuji,
Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavad Pranam Prabhuji.
Hari Hari.
Would you like to do the Mangalacharan for us, Prabhuji? Are you comfortable?
Who? You telling mine? No.
Yeah. I mean, if you're okay to do the
I don't know.
Mangalacharan.
Someone
Okay.
tell me or for me. I don't asking
Yeah,
question.
what Prabhuji?
Okay.
Prabhuji, should I Shivranam Prabhuji is doing?
Vrindavan Prabhu, you're okay to do, yeah? You're okay to, right, okay.
Okay. Om Agganam Timiram Dasa Ganam Janam Salakayam Chaksuramilitam Jana Tasmai Sri Grave Namaham Shri Chaitanya Manovestam Stapitam Jana Bhutale Shayam Rupa Kadamayam Tata Atishapadantikam Bande Ong Sri Guru Sri Jitapadakamalong Sri Guru Vaishnavangscha Sri Rupang Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Nitang Tang Sajivam Sadaitam Sabdutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Sri Radha Krishna Padanam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakanitam Cham Namong Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharini Nirvishesha Sunnavadi Paschatadestarine Namong Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Tiniti Namine यार बार सभानु विधि विधायित्व तव कृपाब्दय कृष्ण संबंधे विज्ञान प्रभावे नमः महादुर्ज उज्ज्वल प्रमद्द श्रीरूपानुगा भक्तिता श्री गौर कोरोना शक्ति विग्रहे नमस्ते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्त दिनतारिणे श्रीरूपानुगा बृहस्पति अपसिद्धांत दांत हारिणे नमं गौर किशोराय साक्षात् वैराग मूर्त विप्लम वीर संबुधे पदाम्बुजय ते नमः नमं भक्ति विनोदाय सच्चिदानंद नामिने गौर शक्ति स्वरूपाय रूपानुगा वरते गौराविर्भावभूमिस्थनिर्दिष्ट सज्जनिभ्यः वैष्णव सर्वभौम जगन्नाथ ते नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश्वर गोपिकाकांत राधाकांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कंचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विशावानुसुत देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय जयतं सुरतपंग ममर मंद मतिर्गति महोत्सर्वस पदाम्बुजयति राधा मदन मनः दिव्य बिंदारण्य कल्परुद्रमदः श्रीमद रत्नागर सिंहासनस्थ श्री श्री राधा शिल गोविंद देवो कृष्ण शरमामि श्रीमान रासरसरम विभुं शिवरतरस्तं कर्षण वेन सुनील गोपी गोपीनाथ श्रीहस्ते नमः बिंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशव भक्ति च विष्णु भक्ति पद देवी सत्यवत्ताय नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त बिंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. That was wonderful. Very nice. Recited the Mangalacharan prayer. Thank you so much for that. A good start, Dhawan Prabhuji. Yeah, we couldn't meet everyone yesterday, but another beautiful occasion of Radhastami. Ramlal Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining us.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, yes, yesterday
Yeah.
we have seen you in the show temple. Yes, we enjoyed.
Yes.
It was very lovely, wonderful program.
Yes, Prabhuji. Wonderful to celebrate Radhastami yesterday, and it was so joyful. Whole evening went so nicely. There was a Krishna Katha, Radha about Radharani's beautiful pastimes, and then the Kirtan was so beautiful, and then then having the darshan in the night, having those cupcakes, a celebration from Radharani's birthday. So it was so wonderful. The whole divine atmosphere was so intoxicating yesterday. that we didn't even feel like coming out from there. And Ramlal Prabhu, I did see you as well, but it was so packed, we couldn't even walk across and see, personally meet. But yeah, happy to see you over there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and it is so important many times, especially in a Krishna consciousness, that we always worship Radharani, even though in many temples you find Radha Damodara, Radha Krishna, Radha Landaneshwar, Radha Gokulananda. We change the names of Krishna depending on the pastimes of Krishna, but the name we always address Radharani first, because Radharani is the Kaladini Shakti of Krishna, the most compassionate. Compassion within Krishna is manifested in the form of Radharani. And I always like this, my favorite verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, where it says, Radha Krishna eki atma duhi dehadari anyone vela se rasa ashwadana kari, where it mentioned Radha and Krishna eki atma, but appearing in two different spiritual bodies in a loving, transcendental, loving relationship. So we always pray to Radharani because Radharani is the compassion within Krishna, is the mercy, so merciful that even though we are so fallen Krishna, sometimes we approach Krishna through Radharani. And when Radharani recommends us devotees to Krishna, Krishna will never say no. So it's like approaching a father through the mother. And we always first should address any with the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hara means the another name of Radharani. And we are addressing both Radha and Krishna. Explain this is a beautiful prayer. We are praying to Radharani and praying to Krishna, please engage us in your divine service. That's the whole meaning of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Dear Radharani, dear Krishna. So when we please Radharani, and Krishna becomes pleased. And when we please Krishna, Radharani becomes pleased. So it's a beautiful combination, and we always should worship Radha and Krishna together. So on that note, I will just do a bit of kirtan, and then we will go into the Krishna book with your permission. Hare Krishna.
Oh, I little bit can kirtan for in the Radharani kirtan. Little
Yes,
bit.
yes, Prabhuji, please. Why little bit? Yeah, please do that. Yeah, we'll be happy.
Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Gokula Tarani Mandala Moite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Damodara Rathi Vardhana Veshe Horina Kusta Vrinda Vipine Damodara Rathi Vardhana Veshe Horine Kusta Vrinda Vipine Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Vrishabhanudodi Navashasi Lekhe Lolita Sakhi Gunaramita Visakhe Vrishabhanudodi Navashasi Lekhe Lolita Sakhi Guna Ramita Visakhe Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Karunam Karumahi Karuna Bharite Sanaka Sanatana Varnita Charitre Karunam Karumahi Karuna Bharite Sanaka Sanatana Varnita Charite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Jai Srimati Radharani ki jai.
Jai. Wonderful, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. That was a beautiful one. I always enjoyed listening to that beautiful song. And can I ask anyone, Anil Prabhu, Nagarat Prabhu, would you want to just quickly translate? So to enjoy the nectar of this beautiful song, bhajan that Vrindavan Das Prabhuji has sung for us.
Yeah, I can read.
Yeah.
Okay. Refrain. O Radha, O beloved of Madhava, O you who are worshipped by all the young girls of Gokula, all glories unto you. all glories unto you. You who daze yourself in such a way as to increase Lord Damodar's love and attachment for you. O Queen of Vrindavan, which is the pleasure grove of Lord Hari, O new moon that has arisen from the ocean, King Vrishabhanu, O friend of Lalita, O you who make Vishaka loyal to you due to your wonderful qualities of friendliness, kindness, and faithfulness to Krishna. O you who are filled with compassion, O you whose divine characteristics are described by the great sages Sanaka and Sansanda, O Radha, please be merciful to me.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Prabhuji. So I just wanted to, sometimes the songs, the bhajans have a beautiful meaning, but I think only when we kind of like take the meanings, go through the meanings, then we can really enjoy how beautiful, the description is. And this is, sung for Radharani, called as Radhika Stava, a beautiful one. And, Rupa Goswami has given this song, and it's so beautiful because the Goswamis a very, very important part of our Krishna consciousness to understand the really a bhakti life, the nectar of devotion. So yeah, that was wonderful. So I'm going to just quickly go to a bit of Kirtan and then we will dive into that. Vrindavan Prabhuji, wonderful start you're giving to this. Um, and then
Wow, so beautiful. Radha Madhav.
yes, Prabhuji.
Yesterday I showed the Radha Vrindavan, Radha Shamsundar. Oh, so beautiful.
They are always beautiful, isn't they?
Yeah.
Jaya Radha Madhava. Jaya.
Prabhu, your voice is not heard.
Not his voice clear, not coming.
Hare Krishna, Shyam Prabhuji, we can't hear you, Prabhuji.
You can't hear me well? I think
Shyam
the
Prabhuji,
harmony.
we can't hear you.
Is it okay now, Prabhuji? Can you hear me now?
Yes, now we can hear you,
Nice,
Prabhuji.
If I play now, are you able to hear? Jaya Radha Madhava.
Shyam Prabhuji, are you using an instrument or harmonium or something?
Yeah, that's right. I think the background
Yeah, I
music is
think
coming, right?
yeah, I think that causes a problem sometimes because when you do it
Okay.
without that, you come through a lot clearer.
Okay, yeah, I think maybe we'll just do it on its own, yeah?
Yeah.
Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Girvaradari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Girvaradari, Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava. Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Ramadava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So a small Kirtan for Krishna before we start off with the beautiful, our usual chapters of this beautiful Krishna book. Last week, we kind of presented the Krishna book in the manner for the visitors who want to get an idea, because many people know about Facebook, but they don't know about Krishna book. So last week in manner, and Nagarat Prabhu and we were there in the manner. So we kind of like took both Bhagavad Gita and Krishna book, so that we can show the people who are coming about and introduce to them to Krishna book as well. So we showed them that many people are not aware that there is a Krishna book along with the Facebook that people are normally very famous. So we explained to them how important it is to even go through the Krishna book. Krishna book it is directly from Bhagavatam. What we are reciting right now is directly from Bhagavatam, and it is so auspicious. And many people are not even aware of this such a beautiful book. How do we develop this personal relationship with Krishna? How do we enjoy the nectar of Krishna Prema? We can love Krishna when we know how great Krishna is. So if you want to know how great Krishna is, we have to refer to Bhagavatam, because it explains in Bhagavatam, especially the canto number 10, from which Krishna book which we are reading right now. And that is where all the nectar of Krishna Bhakti. Only when we know the divine pastimes of Krishna, we'll be able to understand how beautiful Krishna is, how great Krishna is. And for me, in my mind, I was just thinking Bhagavad Gita is a book instructions where Krishna explains who he is, who we are, and our relationship. But over there, the instructions are given, but the practical application of those instructions are explained here in Bhagavatam and in Krishna book. Through the Krishna book, we will be able to understand and relate to Bhagavad Gita much, much more easier. For example, Krishna Bhagavan says in Bhagavad Gita, Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mam Anusmara Yuddhata Mayarpito Mano Buddhi Mam Evesasi Asamsayaha. Where Krishna says, always think of me in the form of Krishna, and at the same time carry out doing whatever duties that you are doing. In this way, you will be able to go to Krishna, will be able to be liberated, and you will come to me. So this Krishna's instructions, Krishna is never asking that we have to leave everything in the mood of renunciation. In fact, he says that whatever work that you're doing with complete detachment and offering it as an offering, making it as an offering for Krishna, we should perform a work. So Krishna says, Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mamanusmari. Always think of me and do what you're doing. And this, through the Krishna Katha, we can understand that. How do we understand from Krishna Katha these beautiful instructions of Bhagavad Gita? We can see the gopis, right? So the gopis in Vrindavan, they were continuously whatever work that they were doing, whether they were doing chores in the house, whether they were doing helping out their parents, whether they were serving husbands, whatever work that they were doing, back of the mind they were always thinking of Krishna. So for the people who are reading Bhagavad Gita and then thinking like, how do I understand this? Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu, but how do I relate to it? So when we listen to Krishna Katha, we will be able to link all the dots. We will be able to put all the dots together. Okay, this is what Krishna meant by Tasmat Sarvesh, that always think of me and keep doing your duty. So when we listen to Krishna Katha, when we know the beautiful dealings of how the gopis, no matter whatever work that they were doing in the house, whatever whichever help they were doing, through all the activities that they were doing, taking care of the children or dealing with the jobs, whatever work that they were doing at that point of time, they were always thinking of Krishna within the on the back of their mind. They were never forgetting. So through those Krishna kathas, we will be able to understand Bhagavad Gita much more easily. And coming to that, we are right now in chapter 51, which has been a quite a big one. And just to recall, we know that Kalayavana and along with Jarasandha, both of them, they were trying to attack Mathura and Krishna in this cave. When Kalayavana came, he kind of like walked into the army of Kalayavana and slowly, fastly started walking fastly towards the cave. And Kalayavana follows him out there. And finally, he takes Kalayavana. Krishna goes into this cave, and Kalayavana is also following Krishna into this cave. And when he sees an old man sleeping out there, he kicks that old man, thinking that it is Krishna. But actually, it was not Krishna, it was a person, it was a devotee of Krishna called as Muchukunda. And that is what this the title of this one, Deliverance of Muchukunda, because Muchukunda was a devotee of Krishna. So even though Muchukunda is forgotten about in this life, he was a devotee of Krishna in his previous life. So even though Muchukunda has forgotten about it, Krishna has never forgets his devotees. Right? He never forgets his devotee. He says, I know everything. Vedaham samatitani vartamanani cha Arjuna bhavishyani cha bhutani mam tu vedana. He says, I know everything that has happened in the past, everything that's presently happening, everything that's happening in future. So whatever through this beautiful story, we can understand that even though we may be great worshippers of Krishna and we may have forgotten it, but Krishna never forgets his devotees. And that's the reason why you see sometimes when you go to the temple, right? There's so many devotees who come to the Krishna Mandir. Many people they think that maybe we planned and came to Krishna Mandir, but it is not so. It is because Krishna is reciprocating that all these devotees who have come to a Krishna Mandir, must have done so much of punya in their previous life. They must have done so much of devotion toward Krishna in their previous life. And as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, wherever you have left off in your previous life, and that is where it continues. So for the devotees, even chanted one round of Japamala in their previous life, it is continuing in this life. So in this life, they happen to come to a Krishna temple, they happen to meet some devotees, and slowly again their spiritual journey starts off from there. So in that way, all of us, we have to understand that Krishna Bhakti is so rare that coming to a Krishna Bhakti means we have done so much of pious activities, so much of auspicious activities in order to be coming to this life where we are able to take to Krishna Bhakti. And that is the kind of this thing understanding that we should have. And here we can see that even though Muchukunda, at the end, when Muchukunda wakes up, because he was being kicked by this king called Kalyavana. He kicks this man who was actually sleeping in the cave. So Kalyavana gets so angry, he wakes up and he looks at him, and he's been given the benediction that whoever he looks at him when they have disturbed the sleep, they are burnt into ashes. So we can find that Kalyavana was burnt into ashes. Then we see that Muchukanda, then he opens his eyes and then he happens to see Krishna in the four-armed Narayana form. And he was so enchanted, asking Krishna who he is and things like that. So we have covered all that in the previous chapter, and it was so beautiful. And then Krishna asks him, "Please ask for whatever benediction that you want. You have been a great devotee in your previous life, and I'm here to give you a benediction. Just ask for it." And then Muchukunda, as we can see, in those days, people were so knowledgeable. They were so knowledgeable. They were so spiritual. And he kind of explains to them, like, that all the people in this planet are covered by Maya, right? And we spoke about it last week, that we are all covered by this Prakriti or Maya, and we are covered by this, we are conditioned by these three gunas, Sattva guna, Rajo guna, and Tamo guna. We are conditioned by these three gunas, and we are struggling very hard in this material world because we are constantly hammered and like puppets in the hands of these gunas, three gunas, right? Prakrite kanaya manani gunai karmani sarvashaha ahankara vimudatma kirtahmiti manyate. The spirit soul, under the influence of false ego, is thinking that he's doer of all the activities, but in actuality, everything is done by the three modes of material nature. So here he's saying, Muchukunda is telling Krishna, my dear Lord, I'm not an exception to this. I'm also a foolish person who's wasted his time for nothing. So spiritual life is all about realizing, where we are, that life is so precious, life is so short, that we have to use the best use of this temporary life in serving Krishna and taking to this chanting of the holy name and taking to this bhakti life. So he's here, Muchukunda is expressing through this Krishna Katha, what do we get? People ask, what do you get by Krishna Katha? And Prabhupada explained, life is too short to make all the mistakes. By reading the Krishna Katha, we get to know so many morals of the stories. We can know through the devotees of the Lord their realizations. It is in our life we may have so many realizations, but here we just through the Krishna Katha we are trying to understand the realizations of Krishna's devotees. Because here Muchukonda is telling Krishna, my dear Lord, I have wasted so much of my valuable time with no benefit. As my misconceptions of life into, I began to think of this material body, which is just nothing but a bag of flesh and bones. And all in all, in vanity, I believed that I had become for the king of the society. So many times, because of our false ego, we get carried away by so many things that are happening in this material world, isn't it? But we know that towards the end of the life, we don't take anything. Everything comes to a zero. And again, we start our life fresh. But the difference between material life and spiritual life is spiritual life, wherever we have stopped, our next life will continue from there. And that's why we see some of these beautiful devotees so young, but they're so knowledgeable because all this is coming from their previous life. So we have covered here, we have mentioned about the prayers, beautiful prayers of Muchukonda, and how nicely he's been um, uh, giving his realizations and explaining about what he thinks. And here we mentioned about Vishwamitra and great sages also. He's lost all control and he begot in his daughter of Sakuntala. And so here it's very clearly mentioned the distinction that in the material world, no matter how much we try to practice the different yogas like pranayama and Surya Namaskara, and we can do all those things. But at the same time, this material world governed by three gunas, we can get attracted by this material Maya at any point of time. And that's the case of Vishwamitra Muni. He was also a great yogi, but best because of Menaka, he lost his control and he begot a daughter. Whereas Haridas Thakur, who was such a pure devotee of Krishna, even though there was a prostitute in front of him, still he asked her to wait and he was continuously chanting where even she finally had to give up. So you can see that uh, people who are devotees of Krishna, they are not tempted by the material pleasures because they have experienced a higher taste in life. So that is what is very important. Um, so here, yeah, we have actually covered to the material platform, right? Whether on the material platform, yeah, I'm just looking at the last final one, which we okay. My dear King, I'm very much pleased with your statement. You have been so we can see that even Krishna is reciprocating, because he's very happy to see that Muchukonda, even though Krishna says, just ask for any benediction, I'm ready to give you. Krishna was ready to do anything. He was ready to give because, as I said, you have many of the devatas, they can give you all the material desires, but mukti and bhakti and getting out of this cycle of birth, life, and death, this liberation can only be granted by Krishna or Vishnu. So here we can see that Krishna is so kind, he's always reciprocating the feelings of his devotees. And because of uh, Muchukonda living such a good life that he was always, he was a devotee of Krishna. And here in this life also, he was supporting by fighting on behalf of the Devatas. So Krishna was very happy with that. And he was asking, and Muchukonda, even though Krishna himself was asking, what kind of desire, let me know. Muchikanda was giving his realization that in this material world, everybody is suffering from all these things. So here you can see, like, I surrender unto you because you are the supreme personality of Godhead and you're the super soul sitting in everyone's heart and you are the impersonal Brahman effulgence. Moreover, you are also in this material world because this material world is only a manifestation of your extended energy. Therefore, from any angle of vision, you are the supreme shelter of everyone. So what a realization, right? So which is why I say Bhagavad Gita we can understand when we link with Krishna Katha. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, right? Sarva dharman parichajya mam ekam saranam vraja. He says, abandon all varieties of religion, just surrender on to me. I will protect you from all sinful reactions. So here we find Muchukonda is following these instructions. He's saying, therefore, I surrender unto you. And we see even the same thing with the case of Arjuna. Arjuna, before the war started on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he was considering Krishna as a friend. But then when he seen his grandfather and everyone, he was totally bewildered. His Gandiva was shaking, and that's when he finally surrenders to Krishna, right? Karpanya dosho pahata svabhavaha pratyama dharma sammoda chetaha yashreyashan nishchitan bruhitan me sisasteham sadimam tvam prapannam. I have lost my composure because of miserly weakness to Krishna. In this condition, in this horrible, miserable condition where I have lost my composure, I'm asking you, from today, I am no more your friend. I am yours. I am a soul surrendered unto you. I am your disciple surrendered unto the Guru. From now on, you are my Guru. Kindly instruct me by what is the right thing for you to do. So you can see from the examples of Muchukunda, we can see from the examples of Arjuna, how to follow in the footsteps that we in the mood of surrender. So here also Muchukunda, even though he was giving the benediction, he was not really wanting to ask for anything because he knows that this material world is meant for more and more entanglement. So that is why he's saying, who's such a fool that after pleasing you would ask for something which might cause entanglement in the material world? I do not think any sane man would ask for such a. So you can see like Muchukonda and Arjuna, these are such a pure devotees who are saying like, why would anybody in their right mind would ask for something material desire? Because this material desire is going to get us more and more entangled, right? So, so Krishna devotees are only asking for Krishna bhakti. They want to just surrender to Krishna. They're not bothered about heaven or hell. They want to just please Krishna and they want to serve Krishna. And we all know he's saying you're the super soul sitting in everyone's heart. And this is what Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivisto matasmitir jnanam apohanam cha. I am the one seated in everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. And you can see here, and Krishna is saying, and he's saying, you are the impersonal Brahma effulgence. But because even though he's talking about Brahma effulgence, but we had to understand from Krishna that even this Brahma effulgence is coming from the body of Krishna. So the basis of this impersonal Brahma effulgence is Krishna. Brahmano hi pratistaham amritasya vyayasya cha shashvatasya hi dharmasya sukasya ekantikasya cha. Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, in the chapter number 14, that's the last second verse, he says, I am the basis of this impersonal Brahma. You know, so Krishna is the basis of this. So we always worship Krishna in the personal form because even though the Brahma effulgence is there, the basis of this Brahma effulgence is again Krishna. And he's the supreme shelter of everyone. What does Krishna says? In this material world, people are not having peace of mind because they have taken Krishna out of their lives. But for a devotee of Krishna who understands Bhoktaram Yajanatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhridam Sarvabhutanam Jnatamam Shantim Richate. One who understands that Krishna is the enjoyer, supreme enjoyer. Supreme Krishna is the supreme. He is the Lord of all the material, all this universe, on all the planets. He is the Lord of all the demigods. And he is the one who's the Suhridam Parvabhutanam. He is our best well-wisher and our best friend. So we had to understand that Krishna is our supreme shelter. He is the one who's our well-wisher and our best friend. And here, Mushukanda is sharing his realization, whether on the material plane or on the spiritual plane, everyone must take shelter under your lotus feet. I therefore submit unto you, my Lord. So we can see like how beautiful Krishna is, Muchukanda is giving his realizations. So maybe we just want someone who can read this. Anyone would like to volunteer to read this one?
Yeah, I can do.
Yep.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, Ramla Prabhu, please go ahead.
For many, many births, I have been suffering from the threefold miseries of this material existence, and I am now tired of it. I have been impelled only by my senses, and I was never satisfied. I therefore take shelter of your lotus feet, which are the source of all peaceful life, and which can eradicate it, which can eradicate all lamentation caused by material contamination. My dear Lord, you are the supreme soul of everyone, and you can understand everything. Now I am free from all contamination of material desire. I don't wish to enjoy this material world, nor do I wish to take advantage of merging into your spiritual effulgence, nor do I wish to meditate upon your localized aspect of Paramatma, for I know that simply by taking shelter of you, I shall become completely peaceful and undisturbed. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. That was wonderful. So we can, one of the things, like as I said, Krishna Katha gives us these beautiful realizations where we can understand that here Muchikonda, through the devotees, pure devotees of Krishna, even though he's been given the benediction, he's giving his realization that life after life, we have to understand that we are suffering in this material world. Prabhupada says, like, we are mistaking it, like, that even though we are suffering in this material, we think we can enjoy in this material world. And Krishna says, like, all the devatas and all, they can give us these temporary benefits and all these things, but they will not last long. In fact, they will get you more and more entangled in this material world. But what Krishna is giving is like he's saying, I will give myself unto my pure devotees. And in fact, the only people who can conquer Krishna are the pure devotees of Krishna. And here we can see that Muchkonda is giving such a beautiful realization that I've been suffering in this material world and I'm now tired of it. So the bhakti life will start when we are finally get fed up of this material world, when we so many things are happening in this material world, but people still don't want to give up and they still want to look for happiness, that flickering happiness in this material world. But actually, what the spiritual world is actually about the real happiness. When we can see, like when a Sankirtana Yajna is going on, when everybody is doing Kirtana, you can find the sense of peace of mind that you have. You can find how beautiful it is, how peaceful it is, because that is like music to your soul. That is like music to your Atma. And that is what makes your Atma happy. We are mistaking our sense enjoyment for soul enjoyment. Krishna Bhagavan mentions which is a more important, sense enjoyment or Atma enjoyment. Indriyani paranyahur indriyebhya paramana manasastu para buddhe yo buddhe paratastu saha. The working senses, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, the five senses are superior to the dull matter. So, which means the body, if you take the Atma out, is nothing but dull matter. So, Krishna is saying the senses are superior to the dull matter, and the mind is still higher than the senses, and your intelligence is still higher than the mind, because if you can control your intellect, if you can convince your intellect, you'll be able to control your mind. But even above the intellect is the Atma. So Krishna is explaining in Bhagavad Gita that the topmost important thing in our lives is Atma, and next to that is our intelligence, and next to that is the mind, and next to that is the sense enjoyment. But what we are doing is we are going for the lowest one, which is the sense enjoyment, instead of actually looking for the highest enjoyment, which is the soul enjoyment. And the Atma enjoyment actually comes when the Atma is always serving the Paramatma, when the Atma is always constantly contemplating and chanting the mantra of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That is the actual joy. So here, Muchukonda has got his highest realization, and therefore he is taking shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, which is the source of all the peaceful life. So it is not by going and satisfying every desire that will become happy and peaceful, but Krishna says that one should tolerate all these urges of material desires. In that way, if you're able to learn to tolerate all these things, in that way, you'll be able to be most peaceful and you'll be free. And now Muchukund is giving realization, I'm free from all contamination of material desire. I do not want to enjoy this material world. Nor do I wish to take advantage of merging in, nor do I wish to meditate on your localized aspect. For I simply, by taking shelter of you, I shall become completely peaceful and undisturbed. So these are the things, right? These beautiful takeaways from the Krishna Katha. This is what will give us a realization. Because as we keep reading Krishna Katha, it'll go into our consciousness that this is what actually brings real happiness. You can see Muchukonda was a great king. He had everything. He had kingdom, chariots, and family and everything. But he was doing his dharma, fighting for the demigods and fighting and killing all these demoniac people. So, and he was a great devotee of Krishna. And Krishna, so here is reciprocating his feeling and offering him benediction, but Muchiko is not ready to take it because he just want to take the shelter of Krishna. So this is what we have to learn from Krishna Katha, that even though Krishna is ready to give anything, because if he can give his best friend Sudama, who just given some cheap rice, and Krishna gave him a big palace when he went back home. Krishna gave even offered benediction to the Dhruva Maharaj as well. So we can find through many Krishna Kathas that Krishna is always reciprocating. But pure devotees of the Lord, they do not want any material desire. They just want to serve Krishna in any way or the other. And also, one of the important thing which I wanted to understand is how come Muchikunda is having this beautiful realization. And for that, in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says in 10th chapter, Teshamevanukampartam aham ajnana jam tamaha nasayamya bhava atma bhavostu jnanadipena bhashvata, where Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, to show them special mercy, I, dwelling in the heart, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. Okay, so this is what Krishna's reciprocation is. Krishna says is when we are constantly chanting the holy name of Krishna, when we are engaging in serving Krishna, and we are constantly contemplating all the back of your mind, like I said, Krishna says, Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mamanusmarayajita. That means always think of me in the form of Krishna and carry on doing whatever duties that you are doing. So when we are doing that, listening to the instructions of Krishna, and we are always thinking of Krishna by chanting his holy name, Krishna says he reciprocates by out of mercy, by destroying with the shining lamp of knowledge, that darkness is born of ignorance. So all these material desires that we are asking is because of our ignorance, thinking that these material desires will make us happy. So Krishna, when he wants to bless his pure devotee, what he does is with a out of mercy, he destroys this ignorance with the shining lamp of knowledge. So when he destroys with the shining lamp of knowledge, then we'll come to the realization, just like how Muchukonda has here realized that this material existence, he's tired and he knows that this is not going to satisfy me at all. So this is the kind of realization that Krishna gives within the heart of a pure devotee. And that is how pure devotees will realize that this is not going to be happy. I'm going to be happy only when I'm serving Krishna. And that is the best way in order to be, where your Atma is going to be happy in serving the Paramatma. So very beautiful realization here. And today I was just reading this beautiful sloka, Tesham Evanukam Partam Ham Ajnana Jam Tamaha, that when out of causeless mercy of Krishna, and this is one of those Chatur shlokas from the 10th chapter, Vibhuti Yoga of Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna is saying, when he wants to show mercy, he's going to destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge, the darkness born of ignorance. So whatever we say about Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it is mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Cheto Darpana Marjanam. That means chanting the holy name will cleanse Cheto Darpana Marjanam. As you keep chanting the holy name of Krishna, it will cleanse our heart with so many samskaras, because we have accumulated so many samskaras, so many sinful reactions we have accumulated all over the years, like coupons we have collected from so many lives, these sinful reaction coupons or these samskara coupons. So Krishna says, when as you keep chanting Cheto Dharmana, it will cleanse all these ones. And once it is cleansed, so this is what Krishna is doing. He's cleansing your heart. And then with the shining lamp of knowledge, burning out all this ignorance, then we'll come to the actual realization that who am I? That I am actually a part and parcel of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. That is the realization. Because all of us, we have a temporary identity. I'm a doctor, I'm an engineer, I'm a housewife, I'm a husband. So many, I'm this European, I'm this. But above all these things, Krishna wants us to realize that you have a much higher identity than all these temporary identities. And what is that identity? That identity is that you are each one of you Atmas. You are part and parcel of me. You belong to me. Mamaivam sa jiva loke, jiva bhuta sanatana, mana shastrin indriyani prakriti shanikashti. Bhagavan Sri Krishna said, you are all part and parcel of me. But because you are suffering, because you have fallen into this material world, and this material world which is and you're fallen into this material world which is covered by all these three gunas, and because of this you're suffering in this material world, but your actual identity is you are part and parcel of me, you belong to me. So we have to have that higher realization that I am part and parcel of Krishna. I'm a servant of Krishna. I need to serve Krishna. There can't be anything more beautiful than that we are the sons of the Supreme Lord Himself. And when we keep chanting, when we get the more realization, that's when we'll be able to come to that level of consciousness where we understand that our actual consciousness, that we are part and parcel of Krishna. Can I ask anyone if they can read Hare Krishna Sanchitaji with
Can I read, Prabhu?
yes, Narada Prabhu, please go ahead. Yeah.
The material qualities are three, namely, that is the one, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
The material qualities are three, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. When one is placed into the mixed material qualities of passion and ignorance, various kinds of greed and lust desires impel him to try to find comfort in this material world.
Hare Krishna
When
Prabhuji, 1 minute. Sorry. I think we
I
should
think
have
we
to start.
skipped one. I think
Yeah, we just go ahead, Prabhuji.
Okay. On hearing this statement by King Muchukunda, Lord Krishna replied, "My dear king, I am very much pleased with your statement. You have been the king of all the lands on this planet, but I am surprised to find that your mind is now freed from all the material contamination. You are now fit to execute devotional service. I am most pleased to see that although I offered you opportunity to ask from me any kind of benediction, you did not take advantage of asking for material benefits. I can understand that your mind is now fixed in me and it's not disturbed by any material quality."
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. That's very beautiful. So we can see that even though Krishna, out of his causeless mercy, is offering to his pure devotees, what kind of desires that you want. Because, we can see that even Dhruva Maharaj, even though he was purified by chanting the holy name of Krishna, but in the beginning he had a material desire, right? He wanted to go and enjoy the kingdom. He just wanted to have his father's kingdom. So in the beginning, everybody starts into this bhakti life with different motives, isn't it? Bhagavan Sri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that there are four kind of devotees who approach Krishna, right? People who are having desires, people who are having material desires, people um, who are in problems, people who are looking for wealth. And in this way, Krishna says there are four different kind of devotees who are always approaching him. But Krishna says that anyone who's coming out of love for Krishna, Krishna says that person is very dear to me, and I'm very dear to that person. So when he finds that there is a pure devotee like that, so he offers his benediction, because when we are worshipping Krishna, Krishna wants to see like what is it that we really want. He's sitting in your heart and he knows everything. He knows what you're thinking, and but still out of his causeless mercy, he's asking his devotee, a pure devotee like Muchukonda, and because Muchukonda has realized that this material world will not give me actual happiness. Actual happiness comes in serving Krishna, to be completely taking shelter of Krishna. So Krishna is very, very pleased that here is a pure devotee who's not come with some motive of having some material desire, but he has come to have a higher realization that even though he's a Kshatriya, he's been a king of all the lands of this planet, but Krishna is really appreciate. So we have to understand that even though we can go and this not even though it is not wrong that when we are in distress, when we are in problem, that we can pray to Krishna. But then the most important thing is, if we love Krishna with all our heart, do we need to tell Krishna that I have this problem? Because when we say, Krishna, I am yours and I have no one else except you, when we pray with that sincere this thing, as a father, he will take care of us. And we should always, one of the important things from Bhagavad Gita and from Krishna Katha we have to understand is, if I am part and parcel of Krishna, then I have to be mentally strong. I should be ready to face anything, because I know that my father, Krishna, will always protect me, because he gave the assurance in Bhagavad Gita. Kaunteya pratijan hi name bhakta pranashyati. Kaunteya, Arjuna, you declare to the world that my devotee shall never perish and I will always keep protecting him. So having that faith, avasya rakshabe Krishna viswasa palana, that Krishna is always going to protect. In that way, if you engage in pure devotional service, that pleases Krishna. So here Krishna is very, very pleased that Muchukonda, even though he's been offered, he's not exploiting or taking advantage of this. And he's saying that now your mind is free from all this material contamination. You're now fit to execute devotional service. So as I mentioned earlier, Bhogaishwarya Prasaktanam Taya Pahrita Chetasa Vyavasayatmika Buddhi Samavdona Vidiyate. Krishna says, when your mind is full of sense enjoyment and material opulences, the desire for Krishna Bhakti will not arise in your mind. But only when you get a taste of it, of Krishna Bhakti, by meeting the devotees of Krishna or by reading, by chanting, that is way in which you can slowly get the Krishna Bhakti, and that is when you will be able to elevate your consciousness. So Krishna is saying he's very happy that Muchukonda has elevated his consciousness to such a high level that he is not tempted by any of these material benedictions or anything like that, and he is not taking advantage of any material benefit. So he can understand that now his mind is fixed on me and it's not destroying my material quality, because we have to keep in mind that this is what Krishna's instruction in Bhakti Yoga, right? मयेवा मना आदत्स्व मयि बुद्धिं निवेशय निवासिष्यासि मयेवा अत ऊर्ध्वं न संशय. What is the instruction that Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita? Just fix your mind upon me, and mind and intelligence in mind. In that way, you will always live in me without a doubt. He says in Bhakti Yoga. So here he's saying, Krishna is saying, I can understand your mind is now fixed in me. So people who are trying to say, Krishna tells this instruction in Bhagavad Gita, but how do I follow? By listening to this Krishna Katha, by listening to these personal experiences of great devotees like King Muchukonda, we can understand his realizations, we can understand. So when it comes in this form of pure bhakti that the devotees experience, through that we can also experience and we can learn from them and go in the footsteps. So sorry, I was just thinking maybe we can just few more paragraph and we are come to the end. Maybe we can just cover one or two. Anyone else would like to read? Sanchit Mataji, if you're okay. Ashim Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Uh, the material qualities are three, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. When one is placed into the mixed material qualities of passion and ignorance, various kinds of greed and lusty desires impel him to try to find comfort in his material world. When situated in the material quality of goodness, one tries to purify himself by performing various penances and austerities. When one reaches the platform of a real Brahmana, he aspires to merge into the existence of the Lord. But when one desires only to render service unto the lotus feet of the Lord, he is transcendental to all these three qualities. The pure Krishna conscious person is therefore always free from all material qualities. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So
Wonderful,
beautiful, yeah.
very beautiful, isn't it? Yeah, because I think it is like Bhagavad Gita is so beautiful, isn't it? Krishna gives us a reason why we are struggling in this material world. As I mentioned earlier, these three gunas of goodness, passion, and ignorance. These are like these material qualities because we are all conditioned in this material world with these three gunas. And whenever there is a mixture of all these gunas, like passion and ignorance, especially, that gives rise to greed and lusty desires. And we're trying to, through those lusty desires, we're trying to find comfort in this material world. If you ask a person who's going to the pub, you're asking any person who's taking drugs and all that, if you ask him why, he's looking for comfort in this by taking this. And through that, Krishna is giving us a barometer how to evaluate ourselves. That when you are engaged in these lusty desires, you have to understand that you are in you are going through the passion and you're going to this ignorance through these gunas of passion and ignorance. At the same time, when we sometimes when like say somebody tells a person is new to Krishna consciousness, we tell them, guys, you need to chant so many rounds, you need to chant at least 2 rounds, and you need to get up early in the morning. They may be wondering, like, but what's the point? Because in the material world, everybody wants to have a logic. What is the logic of getting early? I can get up a little bit later. What's the point of early morning? So they don't understand. But when we go through this Krishna Katha, through the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, we can understand that we do all those activities in order to purify yourself, to elevate ourselves to the level of Sattva. Because Krishna says that these material qualities, this material energy is in the hands of Krishna. Maya jakshena prakriti suyate sa characharam hetunanena kaunteya jagat vivadi vartate. Just like a jailer who's been appointed by the Prime Minister. This material energy is working under the direction of Krishna and creating all the moving and non-being beings. So Krishna says that you are always controlled by this material energy, but that material energy is working according to the directions of Krishna. But again, Krishna also says, Mamcho vibhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. He says that when you are engaged in Krishna bhakti, when you are engaged in chanting the holy names, you will be able to rise. You'll be able to transcend all these gunas, ignorance, passion, and goodness. You may go into the level of sattva goods, Suddha sattva guna also, the mode of pure goodness as well. So here, that is what he's saying. When you are, and so Prabhupada, we are so fortunate to have a guru like Prabhupada who's given us this word called devotional service, not devotion, but devotional service, that when we render service to the lotus feet of the Lord, you will be able to become transcendental to all these three qualities. So that is why we say a pure Krishna conscious person is free from all these material qualities, because he has risen above these three gunas to go to the level of pure sattva guna, mode of pure goodness. Because by chanting and by doing all these things, Krishna says, when only by bhakti we can transcend these three gunas. So Krishna is making it absolutely clear. Krishna tells what is the situation, like a case study. He tells us what is the problem, why are we suffering in the material world, and then he gives us a solution how to come out of this problem. So the problem is we are covered by all these three gunas, and the solution is that when we take to Krishna Bhakti, we'll be able to overcome all these three gunas. So, my dear King, Lord Krishna has continued. I offer to give you any kind of benediction. I offered to give you any kind of benediction just to test how much you have advanced in devotional service. Now I can see that you are on the platform of pure devotees, for your mind is not disturbed by any greedy or lusty desires of the material world. The yogis who try to elevate themselves by controlling their senses and who meditate upon me by practicing the breathing exercise of pranayama are not so thoroughly freed from material desires. It has been seen in several cases that as soon as there is an allurement, such yogis come down to the material platform. So we can see that all these things have been happening in the past. So through this message from Bhagavan Sri Krishna, we can understand that Krishna, even though we may pray for material desires, he's reciprocating and he's offering his benediction. But when we come to elevate our consciousness by taking to the lotus feet of Krishna, we'll be able to elevate ourselves. And in that way, we come to the consciousness that we don't want any material desires from Krishna, but we want to have only one benediction, that is to serve Krishna with all our heart. So this is the message. So I just want to stop out here and just ask for any realizations or anything that anyone wants to share before we close the call. Hare Krishna. Amego Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
It's so beautiful, Prabhuji. So attentive to hear your class. Very beautiful. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. एको शास्त्रं देवकीपुत्रगीतं एको देवो देवकीपुत्र एव एको मन्त्रः तस्य नामानि यानि कर्माप्येकं तस्य देवस्य सेवा. This is my reflection. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's a beautiful one to say. From our shastras, why Bhagavad Gita is so important. Gita Mahatyam is so beautiful, how it glorifies Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Gitam. So one Bhagavad Gita is enough for all of us, because the highest literature that we can look at in our Sanatan Dharma is the Vedas, right? And Bhagavan Sri Krishna says in Vedas, by all the Vedas, I am to be known. Sarvasya chaham siddhi sannivishto matasmitir jnanam apohanam cha Vedasya sarvaraham eva Veda Vedanta krit Veda eva cha. That by all the Vedas, I am to be known. And that Supreme Lord who's known through all the Vedas, he himself is giving these instructions of Bhagavad Gita. So what can be more beautiful than that? That's why Krishna says, one who knows Bhagavad Gita and one who knows Krishna is the knower of everything. There's nothing else further to be known, because this is the essence of all the Vedic scriptures. Thank you, Prabhuji. That's a beautiful one from you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I was trying to recollect one of the statements from Prabhupada. Chewing the chewed, right?
Yes.
That's the taste of the material world.
Yes.
Like Muchukunda, though he had like he was a king for many years, and he had all all the opulences, but still finally understood that there is nothing, taste in that, and he wanted to,
I think,
serve
yeah,
his Lord. Yeah.
I think you summarized it very well. Actually, that's right. Prabhupada said that chewing the chewed, that's what we are doing. Like life after the life, we are going on, asking for the same things, temporary things, which will not last forever. And again, that could be again a cause for further entanglement, and again the cause of another birth. So yeah, Nagar Prabhu, that's you summed it up very nicely.
Just
Uchikonda's realizations. And
one thing also I would like to add is
yes, yes.
we we go, and one of my experiences or something I've been through, but we go through life thinking we control everything, and we try to plan everything, and also if you're a logical person, John, probably, like in IT, we think we have to plan everything to a particular date and a particular time, and that something has to be done in a particular way. But it's only when you're pushed into such a corner that you realize I have to put my hands up. I surrender. I
Mm,
can't. I'm in such a difficult situation now. That's when you
mm,
realize, and when you hand over to Krishna and say, okay, you help me. I realize I can't control everything. It's not in my hand. It's not logical now. Everything I'm trying. That's
yes,
when you see the magic happen and things change. But you're
yes.
pushed into that corner to see. You're
Mm,
pushed into such a difficult situation that you can't understand what's going on when your hands are up in the air and saying,
yes.
I give up here.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the reason why this we lift our hands up, right? When we say Hare Krishna, because it's a mood of surrender. We surrender to the Lord. It's not in my hands, Lord. Please help me. That's a
Yeah.
mood of surrender. That's what Draupadi did. She finally lifted her
Mm,
hands up because, like as you said, that was the best example. Draupadi thought she can help herself. That didn't help. Then she looked at the
yeah.
Pandavas. They couldn't help. Bhishma Pitama, they couldn't help. And finally, she lifted her hands. And this is the
Mm.
perfect example of what you're sharing, Anil Prabhu. And that's when Krishna said, "Okay, now you called out for me. You remembered me now. So now the action begins."
Yeah. The magic
Yeah,
happens.
magic happened. And this word, Prabhu, Anil Prabhu, I was just talking to Prabhupada's very dearest disciple called Shyam Sundar Prabhu,
Yes.
and who's actually his personal secretary. And I was serving him when he came here, and he would always use this word. He would tell stories, and at the end he would say, "It's all Krishna magic. It's just
Mm.
Krishna magic." That when Prabhupada was there, everything was so happening magically that they couldn't even understand like what's going on. It's everything
Yeah.
was so magically happening. It was like Krishna magic was happening, and we could feel that in the air. Everything was just magically happening. So yeah, we on our own effort we cannot, but if we take Krishna, and then the whole game is like a
It's
game changer.
amazing. I've been in the situation where experts have even are even confused to explain what's going on. They're saying, we don't understand what's happening here. This
Yeah.
isn't normal.
Mm.
It's strange,
Yeah.
but the magic of Krishna.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what Krishna is trying to tell us through Krishna Katha, that how to develop a personal relationship. Like through the pure devotees, you can understand that this is what Krishna is inviting all of us. Through the Krishna Katha, try to understand that we all of us have a beautiful relationship with Krishna. But we have forgotten all that, and because we fall into this material world. But he's not looking at a fault. In fact, I was just remembering in Vishnu Sahasranama, there is a names of 1,000 names of Krishna. In that one name is Nimisha. Nimisha, Animisha. Nimisha means that he's so kind that when devotees are making a mistake, he blinks his eye so that he doesn't see your mistakes. And Animisha is when he recognizes that even a small thing that you do, he's looking at like Lord Jagannath without the eyebrows. He's continuously looking at his devotees. So Animisha is like Nimisha means he just closes, he blinks his eyes because he don't want to look at your mistakes. And then he's widely recognizing when you do even a little bit of seva. So you see how kind many times we fear Krishna, fear God. We out of fear we go to Krishna. Oh my God, we're going to get punished. But Krishna is so sweet and so kind. He says, I don't want to look at when you're doing a mistake, I'm blinking. I don't want to look at it. But when you're doing a little bit of offering a little bit of service to me, I'm just looking at you. And as Prabhupada says, Krishna has an accountant. He's keeping note of every small thing that we do for him. So Hemal Prabhu has a point. Hemal Prabhu couldn't speak, but yeah, he's put a beautiful message. Pure service, selfless service. We are given such a brilliant opportunity, which we are still not understanding. Thank you for another beautiful, blessed opportunity. Indeed, the highest literature. Thank you, Hemal Prabhu. Always, as always, wonderful association. And Mataji also has been posting beautiful things on our channel, the Darshan pictures. So thank you. Thanks to Mataji as well on that. Ashim Prabhu, Sanchit Mataji, anything? Ramlal Prabhuji, any realizations? Vrindavan Prabhuji, please.
Hare
Happy
Krishna,
to.
Dandavad Prabhu. Very good Krishna Katha Prabhu. I'm not speaking English properly, but I listening mostly.
Oh, Prabhuji, we are all from India. This is not our first language, so that's absolutely fine.
But
We
I
are.
listening. I listening is good, but not speaking, but listening more than speaking.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for your association. We feel very fortunate to have your association, Vrindavan Prabhu.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sanchit Mataji, Ashim Prabhu, anyone would like to share anything?
Oh, one thing can ask me to our mind.
Yes, yes.
Muskanda is the Ramchandra family or Krishna family?
He's actually from the Ikwaku family. He's from that dynasty, Ikwaku dynasty. His father also from that dynasty, and even though at that point of time he was a great servitor, yeah. So he's from in the beginning of the Krishna Katha. It is in the beginning of the chapter. It is mentioned that he belongs to the Ikwaku dynasty,
Okay.
Raghurama dynasty. Yeah. So as Krishna is always reciprocating, so in this life he's just showing his love again for Muchkunda. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Yes.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, yes.
Yes,
Thank you,
Ramana
Shan
Prabhu.
Prabhu. It's very, very wonderful session he gave. So only you to mention that so we have to understand when we have the Lord on our side, then no matter what happens in our life, we have to understand this point because He will save us at the right time. Whatever necessary, He will arrange for this, and and we have to understand only our ultimate goal is He, Lord. So we have to understand whatever our activities, whatever our scholar or our wisdom going on, we have to find out the ultimate goal is Lord, not Krishna. And if it is against oppose of God's plan, so they will be defeated. No other way. So that's why this point we have to understand. Always we have to remember this. Whatever we are doing, we have to understand everything. If doing something good, and Lord Krishna will never forget it. And he will arrange somehow. If it is arranged something, this is an opportunity, and we have to take. Lord, it is only for you and only for you. There is no even impersonal liberation or Brahman realization or Paramatma realization. No, only God. You are only for me. And I have to do nothing else, only to you to serve me.
Yeah, absolutely, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for that beautiful realization. Because the devotees, why they don't want the Brahma effulgence, why they don't want liberation is that because pure devotees have experienced such a beautiful nectar of serving Krishna that nothing can replace, the Brahma effulgence can't replace, liberation can't replace. So that's why they say, like, as long as you're enjoying this beautiful nectar of serving Krishna, we are not interested in all the other things. So that's why your devotee's prayer is always like, wherever I am, just give me the benediction that I can always serve your lotus feet. So that's where, yeah, thank you, Ramlal Prabhu. Achin Prabhu, Hare Krishna. If there's anything you want to add, your Sanchit Mataji as well. Yeah, I want to again thank everyone for giving me this, this joining our this Sangha and just taking forward this Krishna Katha. We've been doing it. This is the 51st chapter, which we're coming to an end very shortly. And then maybe in the next session, we'll come to an end. And after that, we're going to start off with another beautiful chapter of the battlefield of Ranachor. And we'll see like wow, how Krishna got this name. And as devotees of Krishna, and I see that the difference when outside world people talk so many things about Krishna, and when you are in Krishna consciousness, then you realize that they're totally gone out of their mind because they have no knowledge, they have no information, and we can't find fault with them because a lot of people they have not come across They don't know where they can get the information. And that's the reason why I feel when we are listening to Krishna Katha, we assimilate this knowledge and we share this knowledge with the people who are, who would like to know more about Krishna. In this way, we spread this knowledge about Krishna Katha, about these beautiful dealings of your devotees. Because only mental speculation, however, mental speculation that you do, as long as we can share this nectar of pure devotion with Krishna, that can supersede all the kind of doubts that we have in our mind. The best only way we can develop faith in Krishna is by through this beautiful Krishna Katha, where we can see that Krishna is always reciprocating and Krishna is always protecting. As Ramlal Prabhu has mentioned, when Krishna protects, there's nothing that anybody can do or come against us. So I want to just thank everyone, all the devotees, for giving your precious time on the weekend, on a weekday, and yeah, look forward to again another session next week. We will complete this chapter. We are almost close to that, and then we'll start off in another beautiful chapter in the next week itself.
Thank you, Shyam
Hare
Prabhu, for this beautiful class. I really enjoyed it last week, and a continuation, of course, is sweet as nectar. And yeah, let's all please say three loud Haribols to Prabhu.
Thank you, Sanjay.
Haribol,
Haribol.
Haribol,
Haribol,
Haribol.
Haribol,
Haribol.
Haribol.
Jai Nrsimhadev, Jai Ho
Mm.
Thank you,
Nrsimhadev.
Prabhuji.
Yeah, Narasimhadev. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, everyone. It's not so easy on a weekday, Sanchit ji. I know we're balancing so many things, but it's all your kindness and Krishna is bringing us all together. So, Vanchakalpatarubhyasya,
Sivadabhyaya vacha patitanam
Pītānām
pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnavaya
namo
Namo
namaha
Namo Namo
anantakoti
Anantakoti
Bhaktivinoda
Bhaktivinoda
ki
ki
Jai,
jai
Jai.
Prabhupada
Prabhupada
ki
ki
jai.
Jai.
jai
Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare
Jai
Krishna.
Gaur
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Bhaktivinoda Hari Hari Bol.
Hari
Hare
Hari
Hare
Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.